So if you've been trying to buy a home in Australia, you already know how impossible it can feel. And even with all of the government incentives that we have, it's never been harder to purchase a home. So every year you keep paying more rent, watching housing prices rise faster than your savings, and never really getting ahead. But this is where PublicSquare can help because it offers an alternative pathway to home ownership in Australia. It allows buyers to move into their home with no upfront deposit and gradually build up their deposit whilst living in the property. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how this model works step by step. We'll cover the application process, how you choose a home, all the costs involved, and what happens at the end when you switch from PublicSquare to a mortgage. So let's jump in. The application process is super straightforward. It takes around 10 minutes per person, and you'll be asked to drop and drag things like your payslips, bank statements, and ID documents. But the whole process is designed to be simple and streamlined. Once you submit everything, PublicSquare typically gives you your full approval and your confirmed maximum buying power, usually within 5 business days. Compared to the traditional pre-approval process with a broker or a bank, you don't have any of the endless back and forth, resending documents, and waiting weeks for updates. So it's built to feel like how home ownership should feel in 2026 and not 1996. It's modern, efficient, and actually consumer friendly. So next, let's talk about how you actually choose your home. Once you've been fully approved and know your budget, this is where things are actually going to get exciting because now you'll start looking at some homes. PublicSquare has its own in-house buyer's agency team. Their job as a licensed professional is to help you find a high quality home that fits your preferences. They'll evaluate the property to ensure it's a smart long-term purchase and then negotiate the purchase of the property on your behalf. If you were to engage a buyer's agent yourself outside of this process, you're looking at spending anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 easily, but this is a completely free service that PublicSquare offers. You'll work closely with your buyer's agents to confirm what kind of home you're looking for, the number of bedrooms, location, etc., and then they'll start hunting. They'll monitor all the new listings on realestate.com.au and Domain on a day-to-day basis, but they'll also tap into their off-market networks too, so you'll get access to properties that might never make it online. When they find something that ticks all the boxes, they'll send you a full brief, including the listing link and a clear breakdown of the costs for that specific property. From there, you can look it over, ask questions if you want, and give them the thumbs up if you like it. They'll then line up an inspection for you, and if you love the property in person, they'll start working to match you and the property up with one of the investors in their network. You can think of these investors like your silent partners who will buy and hold the property you have selected whilst you work towards building up your deposit. You'll actually never deal with these investors directly, but the key thing to know about them is that their interests are fully aligned with yours. They want a high quality property that holds its value just as much as you do. And what I really like here is that PublicSquare makes this whole setup completely transparent. You can literally go to their website and see for yourself exactly what those investors are getting out of it. Once you've been lined up with an investor, things move quickly from there. The contracts get drawn up, a lawyer walks you through everything so that you're clear on all of the details. And before you know it, it's all locked in and you're getting ready to move into your new place. Depending on whether it's a new home or an established home, there might be a small setup fee, but other than that, all you'll pay for at this point is a legal advice fee plus a flat $2,000 bond, and that's it. You don't have to come up with any deposit whatsoever at this stage. And all in, you're only talking about somewhere between $4,000 to $13,000 in costs upfront to get into your property right now. Now, once you've moved into your home, this is where the PublicSquare model really starts to make sense. Here's how it all works. On an ongoing basis, you'll simply pay your normal rent, which is the same amount you'd pay if you were renting the property directly, plus a 50% weekly top up. Now that top up isn't a fee, it goes straight towards your future deposit. helping you slowly build that up whilst you live in the home. There's also a small $33 weekly support fee, which covers the admin costs, ongoing assistance from the team, and their future mortgage guarantee, something which I'll touch on later. Beyond that, your expenses are what you would normally expect. Utilities, internet, gas, and water, but here's the key difference. You're not responsible for things like council rates, building insurance, or maintenance. Those stay with the property owner, which takes a big chunk of cost and stress off your plate. When you add everything up, your total weekly costs are usually lower than if you jumped straight into a low deposit mortgage, often saving you hundreds of dollars per week. Another big advantage is that your rental increases are capped at a maximum of 4% per year. So if rents in your area start skyrocketing again, like we've seen with 10, 15, and even 20% hikes recently, that cap could end up saving you a small fortune over time. Meanwhile, your weekly deposit contributions stay fixed at 50% of the initial rental price, so you'll always know how much you're building up. The goal is to help you live in your future home now, enjoy the stability of staying put, and at the same time making consistent progress towards your deposit, usually building up around $18,000 or more per year, depending on your rent. It's a simple, structured way to turn renting into real progress towards owning your own home. Now let's talk about switching to a mortgage. Once you've built up your deposit, you'll have the option to switch into a mortgage anytime between years 4 and 8 of your lease. You control the timing and can move to a home loan whenever you feel financially ready. When you're ready, you can choose to use any broker or lender you want. PublicSquare simply coordinates everything between all the parties so that the handover is smooth and straightforward. Now you might be wondering, what will the home actually cost at that point? Well, PublicSquare makes it super simple because they set a guaranteed sale price for the home for each year between the 4th and the 8th year of the lease. The exception to this value is if a certified valuer comes in and says that the market value is higher at that point in time. Then the home buyer will need to pay the market value instead. It's also worth noting that the minimum price in the range by year 7 and 8 of your lease is normally set to include just 4% per annum of growth, which is far below the 6.8% per annum national average over the last 30 years before COVID. And that is the end-to-end process with PublicSquare. Thanks for watching, and as always, please do your own research before making any housing or investment decisions. And I highly recommend checking out all of the links and resources on PublicSquare's website, especially the calculators.